If you've been scrolling through endless monitor specs, watching video after video comparing refresh rates, panel types, and price points, and you still feel like you might end up with a screen that looks great on paper but doesn't fit your desk or your games, this review is here to clear that up. I've spent the last few weeks setting up a dual-screen workstation with a 57-inch curved monster, running a mix of competitive shooters, open-world RPGs, and a bit of video editing on the side, just to see where the hype meets reality. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about what makes the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9 bundle different from the usual big monitor you might see on a retailer's homepage. This isn't just a single 57-inch panel. Samsung has paired two identical 57-inch mini LED screens together to create the world's first dual UHD monitor. The result is a 112-inch curved canvas that can run games at 240 Hz with a 1 millisecond gray-to-gray response, and it comes with AMD FreeSync Premium Pro to keep tearing at bay. That sounds insane, but the practical question is, does that scale of immersion actually improve your day-to-day experience, or does it become a novelty that's hard to fit into a typical gaming room? The first thing I noticed when I unboxed the bundle was the sheer size of the stand. It's a heavy-duty aluminum base that can swivel a bit, but you'll need a sturdy desk that can handle at least 80 kilograms of weight. If you're used to a 27-inch monitor on a standard desk, you'll probably need to reinforce your surface or go for a dedicated TV stand-style table. For me, that meant moving the whole setup to a corner of my office where the desk is anchored to the wall. Once it was up, the 1000R curvature wrapped around my peripheral vision in a way that made racing games feel like you're actually inside the cockpit, and the dual-screen layout let me keep my Discord chat on the left while the main game ran on the right without any bezel gap interrupting the view. Now, let's break down who actually benefits from this kind of screen real estate. Competitive shooters like Valorant or CS:GO thrive on high refresh rates and low input lag, and the 240 Hz panel delivers a buttery smooth motion that can shave a few milliseconds off your reaction time. If you play at 1080p or 1440p, you can push the GPU hard enough to hit those frame rates, and the 1 millisecond response means you won't see the ghosting that sometimes plagues lower-end panels. On the other hand, the dual UHD resolution, 3840x2160 per panel, is a double-edged sword. It looks stunning in open-world titles like Cyberpunk 2077, where the extra pixels reveal textures you'd otherwise miss, but it also demands a very powerful graphics card to maintain high frame rates. If your rig tops out at 4K 60 frames per second, you'll end up with a beautiful picture that feels a bit sluggish for fast-paced action. The bundle also throws in the TechSmart USA Elite Suite 18 editing software and a 2-year CPS enhanced protection pack. For creators who edit 4K footage, having a massive color-accurate workspace can cut down on timeline scrolling. I spent an afternoon cutting a 10-minute travel vlog, and being able to see the entire timeline stretched across 2 panels meant I could trim clips and adjust color grades without constantly zooming in and out. The mini LED backlight provided deep blacks and high contrast, which helped when I was color grading night scenes. If you're a professional video editor or a streamer who needs multiple windows chat, OBS, webcam preview, and the game itself, this setup can replace a traditional multi-monitor rig with a single, seamless canvas. But there are trade-offs you need to be aware of before you pull the trigger. The first practical weakness is the sheer power draw. Running two 57-inch mini LED panels at full brightness can pull upwards of 300 W, which translates into higher electricity bills and a noticeable heat output. I had to leave the side vents of my desk open to keep the ambient temperature stable, especially during marathon gaming sessions. Secondly, the curvature, while immersive, can introduce distortion at the extreme edges for certain UI elements. I found that in strategy games like Civilization VI, the unit icons near the far left and right edges were slightly stretched, making precise clicks a bit harder. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to keep in mind if you rely heavily on pixel-perfect UI. Another point that often flies under the radar is the input options. The monitor ships with a single DisplayPort 2.1 cable that supports the full 240 Hz bandwidth, but you'll need a graphics card that actually has DP 2.1 to unlock the maximum performance. Older GPUs will fall back to 144Hz or even 120Hz, which still looks great but doesn't fully utilize the hardware you're paying for. If you're planning to upgrade your GPU in the near future, make sure the card you buy has the right port, otherwise you'll be limited by the cable rather than the panel. So who should buy?